Hello, this is Campbell tutorial. In the previous video, we have implemented native ads template, and in this time, I'm going to implement the native ads in the Recyclerview, and I will use the previous project to implementing it. In Recyclerview, I'm going to mix with the other data. I mean that the sample data with the native ads, and I'm gonna show you sample apps that have the ads and the real data and the ads, something like this. Now let's go ahead to add the dependency into the gradle file. There are 3 gradles. We have to add the 3 gradle. The first one is for the Recyclerview, and the second one is cardview, and the last one is for the third-party library for display the image. So now I'm going to click the sync now link in here to download the dependencies. After sync successfully, so let's go ahead to create a new layout file so I'm going to name it as cardview employee. And this design time I'm going to speed it up, and the source code I will put link in the description so you can download it, but in this time I'm going to speed it up. Okay, now we finished creating XML file and the view we have designed it. This we will put the image and the text, email and the name. Now we're going to create a view holder for the whole this card, because we will implementing in the Recyclerview, so we need that view holder for embed this card into the Recyclerview. So now I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to name it as emp viewholder. That is superclass. It stands from Recyclerview holder. And then I'm going to create a field for storing the text view and the image view. And over here we have to find the view ID, find the reference view by ID. So I'm going to find the text view name. And then just close it. And then I'm going to create an add card. So I'm going to create new layout file. And I'm going to name it as add template small. And over here we're going to call the template view. And now we have finished create a template view for add item. So now I'm going to create a new class for add template viewholder. I'm going to extend the class from the Recyclerview holder. We call it template view, so I'm going to create a field for template view, and now we're going to set the template view, find the template view by ID. And here I'm going to set the style. This is optional, you can set or not, it's up to you. Then we're going to set the style into the template view. And over here we're not yet done. We have to create another method to set the ads into the template view. So I'm going to create a new method, set unify native add. And the parameter is the unify native ads. Now we have done the add template view holder. So I'm going to close this class and we're going to create a Recyclerview adapter. So I'm going to create a class, name it as Recycler adapter, and extend from the Recyclerview adapter. And then we're going to implement the method. So in this adapter we support all the data, I mean the normal data, and the other one is the native add data. So we're going to create a static integer for define the type of the native adds or the normal data. And then I'm going to check the condition. If the view type is type adds, then I'm going to call the view, inflate the layout, And over here we're going to pass the context from the constructor when we instance the object of recycler adapter. So I'm going to create a constructor, and the parameter is context. And now we can use the context, and then I'm going to inflate it from the layout. We call the layout that we have created. This is the ads type, so I'm going to call the layout ads. After we finish, we're going to return the new object of the view holder. The view holder of ads we have created already. Then we're going to call this and place the view into the constructor. And then the other one, if we get a view, another view, I mean the data view. So I'm going to copy this line, and then we're going to change this one to the normal template, and name it as cardview emp, represent as the employee data. And then I'm going to return it back as a view holder. And then we're going to implement in the on by view holder. And over here we have to overriding the method to get a type, get view type. The get view type is came from the data that we pass. We're going to pass it from the activity. I'm going to create a collection for storing all the ads and the data. I'm going to create an array list. And the type, I have a two type. I mean that the ads type and the normal. So I'm going to put it as an object because all the class that it extends from the object type. Okay, then I'm going to use this the variable to define the view type. And here we got the position, so I'm going to put the position, the index, and if it instead of unified ads, and then I'm going to return it as the type ads, and then the other is a type normal. And the get item count, I'm going to return all the data side. Let's go back to the on by view holder. I'm going to create a new class for storing the employee data. So I'm going to create new class, and then I'm going to create an employee class. And the field, it have a name, email, and the IMEI URL. And then I'm going to create the getter setter. Okay, now we have done, so I'm going to close that. And the employee data, I will get it from the JSON data file in the asset folder. But now I'm going to implement this on the by view holder first. Check if the view type equal to add type. Then I'm going to call the view holder. I'm going to casting the holder into the add template view holder. And then we're going to set the view holder, set the native add into the view holder that we get from the data. We have to casting to the unify add native ads. Then we're going to return it. Here we're going to call the object employee, and we're going to get it from the data. by the position. But in this, we're going to casting into the employee, and then the view holder, we're going to call the employee view holder, and here we're going to casting the holder into the view holder of employee, and then we're going to set the property. And over here we have to change the modifier. There's a modifier in here to the public, because I created this class outside the adapter class, so I have to put this into the public so we can access that property. Then I call the get name, and the next is email. I'm going to set text from the email, and the last one is the pixel, so I'm going to set it into the image view. And here we're going to change the load, the URL, so I'm going to get it from the employee, get the image URL and the placeholder. I'm gonna remove it. Now we have done the onBind view holder. Now we finished all these methods. We not yet set the data from outside this class. When we instance the object, we cannot set any data into this property. So I'm going to create another method for set the data. And the other one, we have to set the add into the data collection, unify native adds, and then we're going to set into the data. And over here we see the adds is not mixed with the data, because after I'm set the data and then I will call this method, it will appending the data into the last Recyclerview items. But this one is just for example. You can random it into this data. It depends on your algorithm, but this one just for example. So let's go back to the main activity, and then I'm going to create a new method for read the data, for read the JSON data. So before we do that, I'm going to create a new folder, new directory for storing the raw file. And I'm going to copy the sample JSON data. And here is the sample data. We have an object like this. So I'm going to read from that. Create a string builder for storing the JSON string. We're going to get from the resource file, open the raw resource, and we're going to call the employee, and I'm going to read it into the buffer reader. And here we put the Unicode UTF-8. We're going to put the finally blocks if the input stream is not null, and then we're going to close that. And the last one, we have to return the into the string. Now let's go to find the Recyclerview. We not yet put the Recyclerview, and I'm going to put the recycler view into the activity second in here. In the previous project we have empty activity in here. So I'm going to call the recycler view widget and place the ID. Then let's go back to the main activity class, and then we're going to place the recycler ID in here. After that, I'm going to call the linear layout manager. For the orientation, I'm going to put the vertical. Now I'm going to set the manager into the recycler view. And then we're going to call the adapter, recycler view adapter. And we put the context. In here I'm going to set the adapter data. So I'm going to call the adapter set data. But in here we accept the collection of the employee. And over here we have only read as a string. So we have to convert the JSON string into the collection of the employee. So I'm going to create another method for returning the collection of the employee. So now I'm going to call the method, the below methods, JSON string, and I'm going to put into the JSON array. And now I'm going to loop the JSON array. And now we will get the object, the JSON object. And over here we're going to create a object, instance the new objects of the employee. And then I'm going to set the property. It have a name over here, so I'm going to get it from the JSON object, and the field is depend on the key in here. So I'm going to get the first name and place in here, and the email, I'm going to set the email. Place it over here, and then the last one is the set the IMAG URL. Okay, and then after that, when we get each employee, we have to add into the collection. So I'm going to create a new collection as in array list, and I will add it into the array list. And then after that, we have to return the employees. Then we're going to call this method set data and place inside here. It will show the data, all the employees, but we're not yet implementing the native adds into the recycler view. So let's go ahead to create a new collection list that's storing the unified adds. And over here we will use the app manager. In the app manager we have implement the create unified adds, but in this one we not support the number of request type. So in here I'm going to create another overloading method. So I'm going to copy this one and create a new one, and I'm going to put this first parameter as the number of adds over here, and then I'm going to change this method into the load adds. because load add can accept the second parameter as the number of add requests. So I'm going to put add number requests. I'm going to define the method into this add listener. I'm creating a new field, add loader. We're going to generate the getter setter. And then close it, and then we're going to modify in here. We call listening set loader. Add loader. Okay, let's go back to the activity, this can activity. I'm choosing implement in the main activity, but we have to implement in this can activity. So I'm going to copy this one, copy this line of code, and place into this can activity. And over here, and this method too. Now let's call the add manager, and going to call this one number request adds 2, and the second one is the resource ID. So I'm going to copy from the main activity class the resource ID. We're going to override the methods in the add listening, and over here when the add is load success, then I'm going to add into the collection. And if the add is load already, I mean that when we request to, when the add is load all, then I'm going to set into the adapter. I mean it set the data into the collection data. So I'm going to call the add loader that we have created inside this listening. We get add loader, and then we check the condition. If it's finished, then I'm going to set into the adds. We have to change this into the final. So right now we have finished in the coding, so let's go and run this application. Then I'm going to open the second activity. Okay, add is not show because the second activity we read, but we not yet write into the string builder. So I'm going to write into the string builder. And over here we not yet set into the adapter, so that the Recyclerview cannot display by the adapter. So we have to set the Recyclerview into the adapter. Okay, and then let's go to the adapter. The data mean that we have to notify dataset when we add the data into the item. It means that when we add the data into the Recyclerview, we have to notify the dataset. Okay, now let's open up this can activity. Okay, now it's display all the data, but the last one will display the item of the ads. This one have many space, I think because of the designing template in here. Its height is match parent, so I have to change it to the wrap content. I think it should be displayed properly. Okay, so now you can implement the ads into the Recyclerview, and over here you can support the data inside the Recyclerview. And finally, thank you for watching this video. If you think this video helped you, please hit subscribe and like, share my video, and I will see you in the next video.